Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. It's Saturday, and it's 5 o'clock in the evening, so that means it's time for Star Trek. And it's Hammer's turn for villainy today.
Yay.
So he picked Q, and hopefully Skeptalk will be joining Irate, Hammer, and I.
Oh.
And but for now, let's get into the fun that is Q, because he's the guy that you just even when he's at his most Q, you love the guy. You can't help it. But let's see, Hammer. What made you pick Q as a villain? I know picking a villain was kind of difficult for you, so
Yeah, and Q is not entirely
yeah.
a villain. He is like the Borg. He is a force of nature more than anything else, and he doesn't have the same value system that we do, but he lives within his own value system.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't break his own laws, but he'll break our laws because he doesn't see them as being valid. So he'll sacrifice 18 people to the Borg and not think twice about it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, he'll beg Janeway on bended knee to have sex.
That was funny.
And then he'll take Voyager home and be like, "Here's home. If you don't do what I want, bye."
Yeah.
Bye home.
So he is just, he doesn't subscribe to humanity. He finds it fascinating, but he's a little scared of us because he believes that we're going to be them someday, and then it's competition. He don't like that.
Yeah, and I think even the other Q, the guy who goes by Quinn, he even says that at one point. Because he's like, the continuum is, like, we don't, like, we like to think that you guys are beneath us, but you're gonna get there someday. And that's what scares them.
There's an argument that Picard and Q have in Picard's ready room, and they're talking Shakespeare. And Picard says, "Shakespeare, I know Shakespeare." And what he said in irony, I say with conviction.
Yeah.
How, and he quotes Shakespeare. I don't know Shakespeare myself, but he says something along the lines of how noble is man, how fine in form in nature, all this kind of stuff, and how like a god. And Q just fucking flips out.
Yeah.
He says, "You don't see yourselves like that, do you?" And he says, "I see us becoming like that one day, Q. Is that what bothers you?" And Q throws a book at Picard.
Oh, he does? No one ever told me that. He threw a book at him?
Not just a book, but the book is like a foot wide.
That's
so it's like,
funny.
It's like an encyclopedia basically he throws at him. It must knock Picard over.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. I said, is he triggered or what? You know?
Oh yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that, like, you can tell Q tries to couch things in humor, but there's a lot of things about humanity that just both fascinate and kind of scare him.
Oh, you're so solid. You weren't like that before the beard.
Yeah.
He makes his own little quips, you know. But
and it's like I kind of wish that they had kept Q in the more dark vein that they had him in season 1. Like, they had him do funny things, right? Like, in Hide and Q, he shows up on the bridge dressed as a monk at one point, and he's like, "Let us pray." And Picard's like, "Let us do no such damn thing," right? Like, that's funny, but Q was much darker.
Q is Loki.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say. He's a trickster.
Yeah. If you ever want to understand who Q is, just think Loki, because it's exactly the same character.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's Loki in space. That's all he is.
Cosmic Loki.
Yep.
But he appears initially in World War II uniform.
Yeah.
I think he initially comes in as a snake, a 3-headed snake with some kind of lighting effect behind it.
Oh, that's right, because he's like, "Thou art directed to go." He's speaking in Middle English.
Yeah, and then he
that
says,
point.
"Does this look better to you?" And he turns into a soldier, and he
Yeah.
says, "Do it for America" or something like that.
Yeah, after actually, what we're looking for is a few good men.
Yeah,
Picard's just like, what?
that's not who we are.
That's not, yeah. But I do think that there are some characteristics of Q that they're skep. I would have really It's Polly.
Oh, great!
Hey, Polly.
Hello.
I love the avatar. Poor Weibo.
Yeah, I've been using that one for about a week.
Have you come to talk about Q with us?
Yeah, I was listening to you guys talk about Q there for a minute, and I was like, I'm not often up or home or detoxified or available. And I thought, yeah, I was listening to you guys talking. I thought, oh, I could shit talk and chat or just like come on the stream, I guess. And yeah, so,
There you go.
yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think Q is a villain, or do you think he's more of a force of nature?
Neither.
Or do you think
I got to
you
give that
think he's
shitty
neither?
answer and say neither.
What do you think Q is?
I'm not gonna say he's got like some huge character arc,
Yeah.
but he does go through many arcs.
Yes.
Like Loki, you described him as, in a lot of ways, absolutely. Like he came across as like supreme judge, dressed up in the judicial robes and everything in the pilot, right? I'm literally here to judge humanity.
And the last episode too, he goes back to that same outfit.
Yeah, it's like, don't you get it?
The
The trial never ends. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like the whole time. But he does it through. He's got these roles he needs to fulfill or these duties he needs to fulfill put upon him by the continuum, but he sure loves fucking around in the meantime.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I remember. I remember when he's having the conversation with Captain Janeway when he's trying to convince her to have a child, and he's like, "I have to admit, for several million years, I had fun with it, impressing women of every planet." He wasn't this big. But when you think about him in the Q and the Gray, he's like revolutionary leader. All of a sudden, it's
weird. He kind of goes from being a rebel to being a citizen of the continuum, as we see in Death Wish, where he's like, no, you must do exactly what the like when he's trying to get Quinn to go back into captivity, and then when Quinn when he actually gives Quinn the hemlock, he ends up going back to being that.
From the beginning, it never to me seemed like Q was ever happy with the continuum, even when he was doing their bidding as requested. It never seems like in every episode he kind of looks at the continuum like, fuck you, There's something about his attitude, the way he responds. In the first episode, when that shadow shows up on the wall, look at Q's face. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like that shadow being there. He doesn't want to be bothered. He has a job to do, and they're interrogating him while he's doing his job, and he's annoyed. So even in the very first episode, right away, there's friction right there. And every time he's in the show, there's something that he doesn't like.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there's even the bet that he has with Picard that he could get Riker to become a Q.
Right.
And at the end, he literally gets dragged off the ship.
Yeah.
By the continuum.
Q loses for being such an. I'm sorry, Polly. For such an omnipotent person, he seems to lose a lot.
He does. He really does.
Cisco knocked him on his ass. I mean, he just seems to lose every bet that he makes. The only one he ever really won was when he got Picard to ask for help with the Borg.
Yeah.
Right.
The only time he really won, and he really respected it. Look at his face. Look at John Delancey's face when he looks at Picard and he says, "That took a lot to say that."
Yeah.
That was some fine fucking acting. I'm sorry, Polly. Go ahead.
What were you trying to say, Polly?
I mean, I think the best way to have nerd discussions is in universe, but from a pull back from a production standpoint, I think writers just, if I were to guess, just like writing Q because he's a fun character to write. You can do whatever the hell with him, right?
True.
And because of that, there's little consistency to him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna have him be this guy, that guy. Like if you see him in like Q2, where he's got his son Q, who's his literal real John Delancey's literal real life son.
Oh, really? That's his kid?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's trying to teach him morality of a sort that, you fucked up and you got your friends in trouble. I'm going to depower you so you know what it's like not to be powered. And it's like, wait a minute. How does that, we as nerds would have to work hard to make it consistent in our own headcanon how this is all the same guy. I think we could totally do it, but it would be it'd be a long haul to pull it off. And I think that's because a bunch of different writers have had a lot of fun doing a bunch of different things.
I would say that episode is kind of a character arc for Q. Because at the beginning, he just tries to do what Q does best, right? Well, can't somebody else do it? Here, Janeway, you fix my kid. Right? And
Aunt Kathy.
Yeah. and
I think that the consistency with Q is that he's irresponsible.
Yeah, that is the consistency. He's omnipotent beyond belief, and he preaches that humans need to be accountable for what they're doing out in space. But God help you if you hold him accountable for his actions. Right?
No doubt. One thing I enjoyed about Death Wish was that you could tell. You see, both of them came from a soap backgrounds. A lot of those actors came from soap backgrounds, but you could tell that Delancey and her were like playing. Like, there's a couple of exchanges between them where it's like very soapy, and the dialogue is very, it's hilarious. He was cracking me up with that stuff.
Please don't call me Madam Captain.
Yeah, and when he ended up in her bed with her, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Death Wish, for especially an early Voyager episode, has so much going on in it. It's jam packed with Trek lore because when he brings it's got the trial aspect where he brings the people back from history, including Riker, so you get like Federation lore out of it.
We get the
Q somehow, like Quinn somehow, like it raises the question: did Quinn save Riker's ancestors specifically so the Federation wouldn't fall, or is it just sort of what happened?
And then you get the Q Easter egg because they think Quinn is the Q that's shown up on the Enterprise D. Right, at first you're like, "Oh, we know all about you, Q." Oh, no, I'm not that Q. There's
and I've read this on boards that people have argued this, and I ended up being persuaded that you can view Q's sometimes malevolence, like the way Tasha Yar said, we are lowly animals, tormented for their amusement. Yeah. They don't respect us at all when Riker's given the power of the Q. And it's that you can see them as being quite mean, especially Q, John Delancey Q, in all of the things that he does. But when you listen to Quinn talk from Death Wish, you see them in a sympathetic eye. They are bored beyond all comprehension.
Yeah.
We've done it all. And it's like, I was even the Scarecrow. Why?
Oh,
because I haven't done it before.
Scarecrow.
We've all, and Lancey, we've all done the Scarecrow. Right.
Stop whining. We've all been the Scarecrow.
That's great. That's a great
deal. Line. It presents this idea, and then the actor playing Quinn sells those lines really, really well.
He does.
He was good.
I forget the word he uses, not disrespects, minimizes something, all life, when it's forced to go on, when all of the work is done. It's not just my life, it's all life that's disrespected through this.
If you're given supreme omnipotence and immortality, you are going to do everything there is to be done before you're even halfway. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I could imagine being so bored as a Q.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of the argument. And I kind of felt the persuasion. I'd read it on a few Trek boards. Like, think of Q that way.
Yeah,
he's not trying to be mean. He can undo everything that he does. He can redo it and then undo it, like the torture and the torment that he does. He could create a whole civilization, destroy them all, murder them one at a time in the most grotesque way, bring them all back. It's all incomprehensibly boring. Is what he's doing really good or bad?
Yeah.
Like, from that perspective. And it's like, yeah, this is why he's just out fucking around, just trying to entertain himself. And when he runs into Picard and his data says, treat you like a beloved pet. Yeah, he finds something that amuses him. Of course he's going to come back again and again, not out of a sense of meanness, just holy shit, here's something that's halfway entertaining. Thank God.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's
I like this dude. He's unpredictable.
Exactly.
Like, I think Q would have been bored with Kirk because Kirk would have just
he'd been predictable.
That's the crappy. That's the shitty part about Kirk is, I love Kirk, but you always know what he's gonna do. Always, always.
Well, sort of. If you think of him along the lines of, I mean, of course, I'm biased. I'm always going to speak in defense of Kirk, but
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If you think of General Trelane as proto Q,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I was just looking at the Squire of Gothos.
It retired. He says he would add on when everyone would call him General Trelane. Retired, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk does make him interested and does best him multiple times, and then is able to figure out that he is a young child. It's like, in other words, to keep him interested in the style of TOS. Yes, it's supposed to be like a horror sci-fi adventure series, that kind of thing. No, I think Kirk could keep him interested. Kirk has a playful side, and he's sharp as fuck, and etc. I could see it.
Yeah, but do you think that Q would have gotten the same? Do you think Kirk would have done the same thing Picard did in the Q Who episode? Do you think Kirk would have had the balls to go, I need you? Because I don't.
So.
What? Well, okay. Now, that's interesting you would ask that, because what I was just thinking when you were saying that is, what is one of the things that Q likes so much about Picard? And it's dressing down a man he himself refers to as stodgy.
Yeah.
He likes a man too used to military privilege. But you, Riker, and I remember you well, like that whole thing, the exchange that they have. He enjoys dressing down Picard and removing his dignity. That because I'm an asshole and I'll bring a mariachi band onto your fucking bridge just for the hell of it.
He's back.
And he likes making Picard angry.
I'm omnipotent again.
I remember that, man, when
Joy, or
that
swell,
premiere.
as Riker says.
But I feel like celebrating. I don't.
And he knows he can troll Picard to the point of anger.
Yeah.
To get him mad. Would Kirk have done the same thing?
Are you saying that Q's the William Stench ever of Star Trek?
Yes. Very much.
There's something about
I can't see Kirk getting angry, being trolled in that way. It's
yeah, Kirk wouldn't stand for it.
No, no, he wouldn't.
Unless you fuck with his chicken sandwich and coffee.
Right. I can see Kirk,
play.
if anything, acting more like Benjamin Sisko did and just punching him.
Just punching him.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah, Kirk is playful unless you challenge him. Then he's real fucking serious. So yeah, he wouldn't tolerate Q at all. He would entertain him.
And the Kirk's thing every time, right, is my ship, my crew, my ship, my crew, my ship, my crew, right? Like that's his obsession is duty. I don't care what happens to me. Protect my ship. He yells up to Sulu when they're being bombed on the planet's surface.
Yeah.
As soon as the ship is interrupted, I can see him making the same, more or less the same speech that Picard did.
That's the doomsday machine thing too. We're going to go into battle. Not with my ship, you don't.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I could see. Remember Picard with the and again, you seized my vessel, and that angered you. Did it? Seized my vessel.
Seized my vessel.
Yeah.
I could see Kirk yelling at Q the same thing. You interrupted my vessel in its operations. I have duties to perform. You endangered my crew, you son of a bitch. I can see him getting mad in the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think at the dire being chased by the Borg, do you think Kirk would actually swallow his pride and go, "Help me, I need you"?
No, Kirk
Because
would destroy the ship.
He would blow it up. He would blow up the ship.
He's already been in that position and done that back with Beale and Loki.
Yeah.
From Sharon, he's like, I will have control of the ship, or I will destroy it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I just
he's already
brought up.
proved.
Yeah. It's I'm in command or else. Yeah. I just brought Chad up here in Random American. My ship, my crew, my women. Yeah. I forgot the women part.
Yes,
my women. Yeah.
Right.
You really need to look at that closely, though, because there's a lot more of flirtation and a lot less actually consummation when it
I
comes to
think
that.
Riker did a lot more banging
At least on Haven, he did.
than
Mr.
Kirk
Spiata,
did.
yummy.
Well,
Yeah.
that was the
Season
thing that I
one,
proposed
yeah.
to Hammer, and he backed out of it as he often does. That we should do a video where we add up the entirety of. Okay, here's all the times Kirk met a woman, arguably laid pipe, and then versus Riker, and all of the times.
You're gross, man. You are so gross.
Oh,
Look.
Riker definitely laid more pipe than Kirk. Kirk
You're
was
gross
just,
too. Stop it.
Kirk was just a flirty guy.
Well, see, I think, and it's always like green women. Arguably, there was only ever one green woman from.
Orion.
But yeah, Orion slave girl, the one who was the captain who had gone crazy that was in the insane asylum.
Oh,
Captain Garth.
yeah.
I forget that.
Yeah.
Whom gods destroy.
Yeah.
Right.
I think he did. It's supposed to be implied he banged her.
Really?
I think so. Because she goes and like flirts with him in his cell multiple times. It's like where do you ever actually see Kirk like you never see Kirk throttling a woman how do you know? The episode where in the wink of an eye where there was the sped up people,
Right.
remember? Right.
Yeah.
You actually see him one time when he's in his quarters and he goes back there with her and you see him putting his boots back on while she's in the mirror combing her hair after getting it sexually mussed. Arguably, that's the only time you ever actually, 1968 and all.
Yeah, I could see that.
He was totally nailing Rand, dude.
Agreed. Do you know the story of that actress, by the way,
Which actress?
who played Yeoman Rand?
No.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she actually ended up being homeless, did porn. There was a lot of bad stuff.
It was a sex addict, like just fucked everyone and everybody like for years and years.
Yeah.
They kept pulling her into Star Trek to try to keep her from killing herself because she was having problems with depression and that kind of stuff. That's why she shows up in the one with the probe. Oh, yum, 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 yum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's in that episode. She's in a lot of movies and stuff like that. And even regular, was she in a DS9 episode once? She played an extra in a DS9. But the point is they kept on pulling her in because
she played herself Yeoman Rand in the Voyager episode Flashback. Right.
Right.
Trouble with Tribbles.
That's what it was. So yeah, I mean that actress had a hard time. Also, the girl who played in the arena in the silver bikini, she had the same life as well. She did porn and was in trouble and stuff like that, and actors were doing things to try to get her parts and stuff like that. So
when you look at it, I think it would be tough to calculate because as soon as you start talking about like in universe again, Ryza and Riker, it's like Riker's a fucking whore. Like he would go to Ryza.
Oh my god. He's such a whore that he thought it would be funny to get his captain to get a Horgon. And tell him what it was for.
That was funny as shit, man.
And the line is so telling when they're in the turbo lift, and it's like, Captain, have I ever mentioned how imaginative the Ryzian women are? Too many times, Commander.
Yeah.
And it's so this guy is off to Ryza like every 6 months on shore leave, whoring around for like a couple of weeks as a drunken hedonist.
And
So
he
there's
bets
no way to
that,
add up how
and he
much
bets
tail
that
he's
he
got.
brings Deanna with him, and they have threesomes.
That's a supposition, though. That you're assuming that he's doing all these kind of stuff. We never see it on film, so it's not.
No, but we're all adults.
He even tagged a non-binary. Riker's progressive.
He is. He's very, very non-progressive. Very progressive. I got non-binary. I got non-binary and progressive
because they
mixed
tried to
up together in the same word.
Because the government came along and tried to force her back to being non-binary, and he's like, "No, gendered is the way," and he like tries kidnapping her. Remember?
Picard had the chick with the piano, right?
Yep.
And then he had Vosh,
which Q stole from.
Dude,
Speaking of Q, back to Q.
Man,
Q
there was no chemistry.
Vosh.
I don't think there was any chemistry between Vosh and Picard.
No,
it just I didn't see it.
I didn't buy it.
between the actors. Yeah,
I would argue there was a little bit in the first episode, not the second one, not the Robin Hood one, but the first one. When they were in the caves and Picard was out of his uniform finally and was, punching out Ferengis and
seemed kind of stiff to me.
There's some kind of like there's a ephemeral aspect to a relationship where you can tell there's a sexual spark. It was a lot like Game of Thrones, the last season when it was Jon Snow and fucking Daenerys Stormborn, right? There was no chemistry there, man. It was just like,
there's a spark, but there's no like.
But you're McQueen.
I never saw the show.
Actually, Random American brings up a good point. I totally forgot about that episode. Riker used sex to get out of prison.
Yes, he
Remember
did.
when Lilith from Cheers came by?
First Contact.
The
episode's called First Contact.
Yeah, wanted to fuck an alien, and he's like, "Well, I gotta do what I gotta do, I guess." Like,
I've never slept with an alien before. If you sleep with me, I'll show you how to get out of here. and literally, there's this
blackmail, though. Come on.
And then there's a jump scene, and then she goes, "That was marvelous," or something like that.
And then Riker gives her like the rock star leaving town excuse. I'll call you the next time in your galaxy or whatever.
Pass through the solar system.
Next time I'm in town, I'll call you.
I'll call you next time my ship passes through the star system.
Well, there's little bastard Rikers running all throughout right through the sector, man, knocking up aliens everywhere.
But to go back to Q,
yes,
we better not go off too much off topic, or I'll get more angry comments.
Well, we can keep it on the same sex topic when it comes to Q.
Polly,
I read the comment. I know.
Oh, you did? Okay. So, but there is one thing that I would argue that does put and I wouldn't necessarily blame it all on John Delancey's Q. I would think this is more of a statement about the continuum. But the fact that the continuum had, what was her name? Amanda Rogers, I think her name was. Her parents killed because they wanted to live as humans without power.
The Q continuum did that.
And the continuum was like,
no,
No, that's not allowed. You must die now, and we must orphan this like that's pretty villainous to me. I and like I said, I wouldn't lay that at the feet of John Delancey, but he certainly knew, and he was perfectly fine not telling her. And just like pretending that she was just an orphan. And
so 2Q have a child and the continuum kills the parents, yet Q himself has a child and that's perfectly okay.
Because the 2Q that had Q's child didn't want to renounce their powers.
Everybody's been the the Scarecrow.
The Scarecrow, yes.
So what's wrong with being the humans?
I see, and this is where do they think of humans as just lower forms of life argument comes in.
Well, I guess they're higher than scarecrows.
Well, but the thing is that then this is where I get into the interesting thought of how do the Q think of themselves, because do they think it's okay to be mundane objects or do mundane things as long as they are doing them within the actual realm of the continuum?
I think it's a plot hole. There's so many plot holes. If you sit back and think about the shows and the movies, the number of plot holes is astounding. People suspend their disbelief. Here's a good example. This is probably the best example, really. The movie First Contact. The very beginning, the Borg travel to Sector 000 and then go back in time to try to assimilate Earth, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Why not go back in time in the Delta Quadrant and then come to Earth?
Mm.
That's not a plot hole. That's just a lack of imagination. A plot hole is like a contradiction.
Here's a bigger plot hole that I'll give you, and it's why I can't watch Dark Frontier anymore, despite the fact that I actually like the writing of the episode. The whole episode basically undoes all of the established Borg lore. If you really think about it. If you look like at Dark Frontier and then you say 7 of 9's parents were the first humans to find the Borg. Well, no, that's not true. Like, at all. They
first people to see them as Borg. Because everybody in the Arctic that found the Borg bodies, didn't everybody die except for like 1 or 2 people? And then I don't remember that episode very well.
So what happened was the Arctic
Enterprise.
explorers, only a couple of them were assimilated. The rest of them were killed. And then I think Archer and his crew ended up Did they destroy it?
They chased him down. I don't remember.
I can't remember if they destroyed...
the way that the writers explained it, I listened to the DVD commentary on that episode. You're talking about the Enterprise episode where...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. The way that they explained it themselves was we got the mandate to have the Borg in it because the Borg are crashed back in time. Their tech is on Earth. And they go through great extents to try and fit it all in without fucking up. But the idea is, well, how is it that nobody knows about this? Because they classified it like the Omega Protocol above a certain level. That only certain,
they classified it like the Omega Directive, Section 31, all that shit.
Where that only certain people know it. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's kind of weak, but all right, go on, you know. And
but didn't the original series...
they were the first ones to meet before time travel. They were the first ones to meet them in the normal flow of time.
Well, and I was going to say, didn't Kirk run into them?
Yeah. Well, technically, we think so. That's what Voyager was supposed to be from a machine planet.
If you accept the Shatnerverse as being canon, but the Shatnerverse isn't canon, which I think it should be. But I think that's a great idea. That's where Voyager came from. Like
the Borg. That's what I always thought, man.
That was the machine planet, and
that was a great scene in that movie too. For as boring as a motion picture was, that was a great scene when he starts using his thumb to clear off the plaque, and he looks and he says VGER, and then he rubs it and he says VOY Voyager. Yeah. That sound in his voice, that like, oh my god.
He goes, holy shit, I know.
Just to be clear, it's not boring. It's methodical and mood setting, but that's fine.
And it does have a record album in it, so.
And the soundtrack is fucking amazing. It's just. Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, I guess we don't want to get off topic. So back to Q-Sex.
But would Q-Sex?
Well, I had a point about Q-Sex because we were talking about like Riker being a whore.
The fact that
supposed to bring it back
the fact that it takes like a touch of the finger and that's it, and they just touch each other. And...
A touch of the finger.
And Janeway's like, that's it.
Man.
And
which to me contradicts the thing that he said earlier. Foreplay with a Q can last for decades. Really?
Damn.
Okay.
Well, maybe foreplay between an omnipotent and a humanoid would last decades. Maybe because they're omnipotent, they can just.
Or is that grooming? We call that grooming here.
Yeah.
Well, in my mind, they went off to a pocket
actual
dimension and fucked for like a millennium. So
yeah, the foreplay could last a long time, but the actual act only takes a second.
I just love how Janeway's like, that's it, and he's like, well, you had your chance.
what are you doing with that dog?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the puppy. So what did you think of Kalar as Lady Q?
I liked that.
And, well, she's been through the entire show. She's Kayla, but she's also Dr. Solar.
Yeah.
So that same actress, and that actress is an Amazon. She's like 6'1" or something like that.
She's got a gorgeous voice.
Yeah.
She rolls her voice when she talks.
Yeah, she's got that smoky, husky voice. That people talk, in literature, they always talk about the lady with the smoky voice. That's her.
I've always liked her. The only person on the show that I've liked more was the Binar episode with what was the name of the girl? Mimi? Minuet, yeah. That's the only person on the show I thought, wow.
Yeah, Famke Janssen, age of 20 years old.
Yeah.
Dude.
Just no, and blondes and jazz don't go together. Get fucked, Riker. Yeah, they do.
That was just him complimenting her. I don't think he really believes that.
It's good for jazz, honey.
Computer, blondes, and jazz.
That's something interesting that we don't really see too much of Q interacting with a holodeck or holograms or that kind of stuff. Every time we see him dealing, he's always dealing actually with real people.
Well, okay. So let me ask you guys a question about like lore and continuity and canon and things of those sorts. Like, as a Sherlockian, big fan of Sherlock Holmes, there is no such thing as within the canon as a contradiction. That's what's called the grand game. It's your job to solve it. There's nothing that's wrong that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle ever wrote. It's just you misunderstood something, or Watson was telling a deliberate lie to keep one of Sherlock Holmes's exploits, a certain aspect of his exploits, secret for some just reason or whatever. There are no mistakes in the canon. That's the conceit of what's called the grand game, and it's your job to write your way out of that. That's one of the things of the game. Would you buy it that far with Star Trek, or are you willing to take certain episodes and just go, yo, that episode was trash, it fucks up so much lore that it just, forget it?
I would say there are some episodes that just, why are they?
The last episode of TOS, Turnabout Intruder. Oh my god, what a terrible way to end a series. That was like the worst show.
The Bride of TOS.
Jesus. Okay, we've had this conversation before. Okay, Turnabout Intruder is badly underrated and misunderstood, in my opinion. But whatever. I'm the guy who liked Spock's brain, so I think that episode is badly moved. Brain and brain. What is brain? It's fine. It makes sense. She's got the intellect of a 6-year-old.
That's a joke between me and my brother. Whenever we come up with something that we don't understand, it's always brain. What is brain?
Okay, Random American mentions what is actually the worst episode in the entire history of Star Trek, in my opinion, Threshold, where they pass warp 10.
Hey!
Yeah,
I like that episode.
But
it had such promise at the beginning and became so awful at the end.
But Hammer nails it. Hammer nailed it, huh? Hammer nailed it well.
Very funny.
Speaking of sex. Speaking of laying
I'll take
pipe.
What for me? What constitutes a bad episode? A bad episode is there's episodes that are corny, and people invariably refer to season 1 of TNG, where they're like, it's just so campy, I don't like it. I love stuff like that. They're TOS throwbacks as far as I'm concerned. I love season 1 of TNG. Just take it for what it is. It's
Cyrus Redblock.
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Cyrus Redblock.
The actors are trying to find their characters. Usually, that's where you see the chemistry start to develop. I love watching that kind of shit.
Yes.
So it's a strong cast.
And it is, right? And the story ideas, people are like, oh, they're so dumb. No, they keep visiting theme planets, just like they did in TOS. It's fine. There's no, to me, bad is middling and forgettable, like Imaginary Friend. That's 15 minutes of story.
And that could have been a good episode. That could have been a good horror, because Trek can do a good horror episode. And that could have been done well, because I'm sorry, creepy alien kid that no one else can see except another girl, like, that could have been done really well.
That could have been to the level, in terms of horror, that's exactly what I thought of it, up to Scientific
Terrors.
Method from Voyager.
Or Night Terrors.
Or Night Terrors.
Was never
Scientific
fully,
Method
though.
still gives me shivers. What a frightening fucking episode, man.
Yeah.
It was a great episode.
It's so it could have been there. So it's the episodes that are interesting idea, but they're just middling the whole way through. Then there's what's actually bad, and that's why Threshold is the worst. Starts out fantastic. Oh my God, this is so great, and then all of a sudden, flat spin right into the ground, and the pilot didn't eject.
Even the medical mysteries that were happening with Paris were interesting.
What does this mean? And they should have left it kind of. He kidnaps her, and they have salamander children, and then they say, "Let's not talk about it again."
The
What?
salamander children.
Like,
so
what?
there's like some planet with like
It's horrible writing.
abandoned salamander children. What happened to seeking out new life?
And that's why it wins the record for me. Starts out so interesting. It's got so much going on. Like, why couldn't you go warp 10 before? Because we needed this special dilithium that vibrates at this really, really high frequency, and we're running out of it. And the shuttlecraft Cochrane, they even called it, the nice little touch, right? Like there's just so many, and it's infinite velocity, meaning you're literally occupying all places in space, and it's like, okay, this is wild little reaching the ragged edge of physics, but this is like technobabble, but interesting. There's every square centimeter of the sector they've got a map of now, because Paris actually was occupying every square centimeter of the sector. Okay, and what do you do with it? Abandoned salamander babies. What? That's what makes it the worst.
I think my favorite line in that entire episode is, "Can you wake him? I don't see why not.
Right.
Wake up, Lieutenant." Just you're right in his face. "Wake up, Lieutenant."
So
There's certainly examples of Star Trek episodes being written poorly. Even Q gets an episode where he transports everybody down to a planet, and he has these monster guys.
That's Hayden Q.
Hayden Q.
That's where he tries to get Riker
really,
to become a Q.
Yeah, that really dragged in the center.
The
episodes that are like are people willing to forget? Because some people aren't. It's like, it's gotta, if it's lore, like if it's canon, then it has to fit in. And some people have that perspective, and I understand it because of the Sherlockian thing. But I want to kick out true Q, like to bring it back to Q. That episode fucks up the Q lore so bad, adds nothing to it, raises so many questions it doesn't answer.
Yeah, what happened?
And you guys mentioned a bunch of them. What happened to her? They had her child, as somebody mentioned in chat, after they lost her powers. If they know everything because they're Q, how come they don't know whether she's a true Q or not? And there's that question, if she were some type of hybrid, blah blah blah. And just the whole thing is hot trash.
Well, and the fact that at one point they give Q the order to kill her.
Well, they killed her parents.
Well, but there's no, like,
they don't value life like we do. How many people did they kill in the Enterprise?
Well, okay, but even for them, they don't give she could be a hybrid, and if she is, she has to die. Why?
But like the same, I hear you, and the other incongruity that you guys already raised up, that other Q had become human and they had all become the Scarecrow. They punished Delancey Q, by making him human. Why wouldn't they just eradicate him from existence? Because they wouldn't want to make him this lowly, because they had already executed Q for doing this. Like, again, the whole thing is hot trash. And lest we forget, I really despise the actress they picked to play
Amanda
Kid
Rogers.
Q.
She's cute.
You could swing a dead cat in Hollywood and have hit someone who could have played that role better, in my opinion.
And her voice really annoyed me.
Yeah, but she's cute.
She's got this really weird, annoying high voice.
But what that episode does have going for it is one thing. When Q turns Crusher into an Irish setter. That was hilarious.
And then he turns her back and she just continues yelling.
She's not
at
even
him
aware of
like
it.
She doesn't know.
That is funny shit.
And the great part is, the dog has exactly the same hair color she does.
Yep.
Oh, it's the red-headed Irish setter.
Yeah.
Exactly the same shade and everything. It's like, jeez.
Just barking away in Q's face like she was just barking away in it.
Why didn't they just, if it was a hybrid, why didn't they just take away her powers like they took away Q's powers?
Right.
Problem
just
solved.
Endless problems with that episode where it's just like, I just kind of want to forget it. Like, to make it work, you would have to postulate a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes that you didn't hear. The Q were actually lying to Picard when they told him this. It was actually these 10 complexities going on to make it all work. What's presented on screen is a hot fucking mess.
You know what episode I really want gone and forgotten? The Game.
You didn't like The Game? I had Robin Leffler.
Hated that.
The cutest ensign in Starfleet history.
Yeah, they could have done something.
I gotta agree with Polly on
with
that,
her.
man.
They had her in other episodes.
Once.
She's fine. They could have put her in something else. I hate how every time we have Wesley saving the day and then
But Wesley didn't save the day. Data
He
did.
didn't. The only thing that saved the day was reactivating Data.
That's true. But the shitty it starts out with this stupid giggling bimbo bitch that Riker's fucking with.
And he's whoring around on Risa.
He's whoring around on Risa with some alien person who turns out to be incredibly dangerous.
Have you noticed how that episode, The Game, and then I cannot remember the name of the episode. I'm gonna need help here, Oracle. Where the aliens flashed the Enterprise, gives them all temporary amnesia. Commander McDuff, the executive officer, shows up. Conundrum, thank you.
Yes.
I knew you'd know. Starfleet seems very susceptible to low-tech species that can fuck with their minds somehow through technology.
Yes.
I just had this happen yesterday. My girlfriend's playing with her iPad and she's having problems putting something in. I just handed her a pencil. And she looked at me like, what the hell is that? It's a pencil. Just write it down on a piece of paper.
I mean, in Picard, an android gives you a mind meld.
That's true.
Just look at me with a blank stare on her face. I was like, pencil. Pencil pencil.
W.R. Costin's like, stop telling people about Robin Leffler. I will not. She was absolutely. She was the most.
I did like her and her rules. Robin Leffler's rules for life.
Yeah,
she was cute back in the day. She really was.
Yeah, and the feminism, not even once.
Oh man,
remember her during the women's march in D.C. That she's a nasty woman reading that poem. Oh God. And the thing that kills me is she's got a great Kentuckian accent. She has a wonderful Southern accent, and she completely hides it unless she's wanting to prove that I'm really real and I'm a woman of the people. And it's like, no, Ashley Judd, you're really not. You need to just.
A movie with Hugh Jackman where she did a really, really great job. It was one of those movies it's kind of a chick flick, so no guy would be caught dead watching it. But I'm secure enough in my masculinity that I can actually watch that movie and not look like a woman. And it was a really great movie, and she did a really great job in it. She looked amazing, and it was with Hugh Jackman, so women had some eye candy too, kind of deal. So, but it just never took off. But it's a great movie. If you get a chance, I can't remember what the name of it is. Like, I can't remember. I have to look it up. I'll
Actually,
go
she
look
was
it
in
up.
a movie where she played a crack addict that was pretty good. God, I can't remember the name of that movie.
Yeah,
She was hot as all
She was
get
a
out
fucking fox though back in the day.
in Heat in 1995,
Stone Cold.
playing Chris Shaharless's wife, Shireen Shaharless. Yeah, if you ever have a chance to watch Heat again, oh man, she's fucking smoking in that movie.
Wasn't she in that that Norma Jean, that Marilyn Monroe thing that HBO did?
oh yeah, she was naked in that too.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
But
I'm looking through Hugh Jackman's thing. Oh, Someone Like You is the name of the movie.
Like the Scorpion song. Oh, that's No One Like You. Sorry.
Yeah.
you know, and Prospero's making fun of us. Reviews brought to you by Gonads. Well,
Hey,
here's the thing. It's like when I'm talking to Weibo Jones and she's like, I love what's his name is Superman. Fuck, his name slipped my mind. Guy who lastly played Superman.
Superman?
Yeah.
Oh,
Shit.
I can see him in my
The
eye.
Englishman. What's his name? Fuck.
God damn it. What the hell is this?
Henry
name?
something? Is it
Henry
Henry
Cavill.
Cavill.
Thank you.
Henry Cavill. Thank you.
Henry Cavill. And she's like, I love him as Superman. I'm like,
Witcher.
why? Because he's hot as hell. I'm like, fuck, see? Like with this
So?
thing. Review brought to
Man
you
of
by
Steel was a
Overeats.
shitty fucking.
I've gotten into
Overeats, I like that.
so many arguments with women, like even just with real life people. They're like, he treats you like crap. Yeah, but he's so good looking. Okay, but he treats you like crap. But he's hot.
I'm not even judging. Well, Henry Cavill didn't beat up Weibo. I'm just
No, but it's the same.
Although according to my avatar, it does look like someone's beating on her. If you
Well, you're just a mean person.
It reminds me of Soph's little avatar she uses.
Oh.
Yeah.
the the reason I bring it up is like I'm not even opposed to that. That's fine. I remember a bunch of reviews that when I was reading of 300, the Frank Miller, Robert Rodriguez film, right? Wait, how racist it is, and blah blah blah, all the PC problems that people have with that movie. And every woman reviewer said, "Don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with super muscular men walking around in little leather panties." And I'm like, see, it's. Wow, that which is attractive to the eye is attractive to the eye. Who would have guessed?
Yeah,
Ideology does not surpass aesthetics. Who knew? I don't know. It doesn't bug me. So it's fine, Prospero, that we find Robin Leffler the hottest ensign in Starfleet. It's fine.
And Frank Miller's good.
And yeah, Frank Miller's the fucking man. Easily my favorite comic creator. Period.
Indeed.
Yeah.
See,
But back to Q, so we don't generate any anger.
I was gonna say, you guys think Robin Leffler's the hottest, but I'm sorry. I think that Kalar is hot. Fucking as the like not like the actress in the role of Kalar is freaking hot.
Oh yeah,
that-
Worf's woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh man.
She's fine.
That is.
They murdered her too quick, but it was a good
Yeah.
high point of drama when she was killed. I
She
didn't
was
see
in
it
a
coming.
sitcom after that, and then she dropped off the radar.
She was in Babylon 5 for a hot minute.
I never watched that.
No, it's good. It doesn't have the budget that Trek does, but the writing is top notch, man. It's Babylon 5 was pretty fucking good. It took me a while to come around. I didn't watch it when it was on. It was a friend of mine who's like, "You love Trek so much, you got to give some other sci-fi a chance." And so many of the episodes of Babylon 5 are like Star Trek actors and writers reunions because competent sci-fi people, of course, they're gonna get hired.
So, quick poll to round out the stream. What's your guys? Who can pick a favorite Q episode?
Ooh,
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last one.
And all good things.
All good things. Yeah. I really like
I can see
the
that.
part that he played there. He was like, it was a great way to end the series.
Yeah, I can see that.
I kind of
Polly's
liked him
like-
sexually harassing Janeway. I thought that was great. You know, being stalked by a fucking godlike being.
I never
about
did
that.
anything like this for Picard.
No doubt. He sees you when you're sleeping.
Like, and he keeps doing it even after Q Jr. is born because he just pops in while she's in the bathtub. It's not working. She's like, dude, go away. Hammer, do you have one that you like the best?
But yeah, it was
Or not Hammer, Polly. Sorry.
It would. That's tough, man. I'm thinking because there's a reason they used him over and over again. Great character, great actor. So yeah. Fuck, there's so many good ones. I really probably like where he's like full Q in a lot of ways, but then like the playful Q, but then also the deadly serious Q.
Yeah.
It would have to be Q who when he introduces him to the Borg.
Yeah.
That would have to be it because he wants to become a member of the crew, and all of those interactions are hilarious. There's the comedy, but then it very quickly becomes extremely deadly serious, and then you get that great scene that Hammer referenced at the end where like a lesser man would have rather died than make that admission.
If you can't take a little bloody nose, what are you doing out here?
Yeah. And and Delancey delivers that ice cold line at the end. There's wonders to excite the imagination and terrors to chill the soul, but it's not for the timid. That was
really well done.
It was just over, like it goes from really, really funny to like Q wants to be a member of the crew. It's we simply don't trust you, Q. Like he's so hurt, it's
But why? What did I do to you?
and it ends with an introduction of one of the most famous malevolent villains and 18 dead crewmen. That's crazy. Great episode for Q overall.
And that stupid bumbling ensign who spills her hot chocolate all over Picard.
Oh yeah, that's right. I fucking yeah.
Morales?
She didn't hang around for very long, did she?
No.
Picard got her off to
kinda
work
cute.
on some colony somewhere.
I think mine is Deja Q.
Why?
I really like Deja Q. Because I enjoy the comedy of it, but I also like the moments of seriousness in it, like where you've got Guinan just completely unloading on Q. Just just gloating over the fact that he's human. And then stabbing him with a fork. How the mighty have fallen. It's just, and then the conversations between Q and Data, and how Data is like the only one who's actually trying to help Q. It's one of my favorite episodes just because it mixes the comedy in with the Trek, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean for, like, the age-old discussion that Data always has. As Q calls him, my robot professor of the humanities. I'm not a robot.
And you get that great scene of Brent Spiner showing what a monster actor he is with that laugh at the end.
Yes.
There's not a lot of actors that could have pulled off a fake hysterical laugh like that. It was so well done.
And he goes, Q, if you wish, if you're going to make me human, and Q is, oh no, I would never inflict that on you.
Watch this.
And he just gives him a laugh, and everyone's like, Data, why are you laughing? And he goes, I do not know.
But the following line after that was really good because Brent Spiner actually pauses when he delivers it. He says, but it was a great feeling.
Yeah.
And that added a lot to his experience when he says it that way.
Yeah.
And you do get in that episode to see Picard holds grudges, and he can be a dick.
Yep.
You get Q in there talking like from his heart of hearts, who's been like lowered to the lowest of low from his perspective, right? And he's like, and when I'm he saved me, and he Data saved me, and he didn't need to. When I ask myself, would I have done the same for him, I'm forced to answer no, and I feel ashamed. And Picard's response is, well, I'm not your father, Confessor Q. You will get no absolution from me. And it's like, Jesus Christ, Picard.
But I think at that point, it's like,
how many people did we lose with Q? 16, 18 people? And how did Q react? Oh, too bad.
yeah.
What comes around goes around.
Yeah, well, and that's my point. I said it's like you can be a dick, and he holds a grudge.
Yep.
It's a Skip. Hello, Skip.
Hey guys, sorry I'm so late, but I've been babysitting.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
Jeez.
great fun. Sorry, emergency.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's all great.
What do you think about Q? And
He's sort of an anti-hero to me.
I was waiting for somebody to use that term.
I identify with Q on the level of Q has no F's to give.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't care, and he's always has that feeling of he's looking for a reason to care for something.
Yeah, and I think that brings it back to what we were talking about before in the Death Wish episode, where they're just bored. The Q is just bored, so they're looking for something to care about. They're looking for something to...
Yeah, they're not even moving anymore.
Yeah.
They're just like motionless.
They're sitting on the porch. We've read all the books.
Right.
We've done all the things. We've been the Scarecrow. That's interesting.
We've contemplated the geological ages. We've watched all the changes. It gets you thinking about the universes of change. It makes me think Rumsfeldian thoughts. I keep going back to the things you know about, you don't know about, and the things you don't know about. And that's always the challenge, is transferring the ones into the other. Transferring the things you don't know about into the basket of things you now know you don't know about, into finding new things to worry about that you didn't know you had to worry about before, so to speak. That's an example of that, for instance. Am I making any sense, or am I
Yes, you are.
Yeah, dude.
saying crazy shit that nobody can identify with?
No, we've honestly, you kind of summarized everything that we covered very nicely, actually. It's kind of a great way to sum it all up. What do you know, do you have a favorite Q episode? I was just rounding off the stream with
Death Wish.
Death Wish is your favorite one, huh?
Yeah, because for that reason, I think,
Yeah.
probably. Yes. Yeah, for exactly that reason.
What was the episode with Maid Marian and
That was called Cupid.
Cupid? That's my favorite line. I am not a merry man.
Sir, I must protest. I am not a merry man. That's my mom's favorite line of that episode.
What was the one with the trial? The
first one?
Farpoint.
Farpoint. I like Farpoint too.
And all good things.
And all good. Yeah, because they do another trial in the last episode. Yeah, my mom.
Yeah,
my mom
Farpoint
likes.
was what I was thinking of.
My mom likes a lot of Worf lines because Worf he has some of the best ones.
I saw a video of Worf of all the times where he recommends phasers or shields, and every time Picard turns him down.
Yeah.
He does it like 15 times. You'd be surprised. This video is like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, I remember him doing that too.
Yeah.
Oh shit, he did that. And then after a while, you're like, Jesus, Picard shut him down all the fucking time. He was constantly saying, "No, we're not going to do that. Nope, leave the shields down. Nope, we're not going to fire." It's like, Jesus, Worf can't do anything.
You just want Worf to turn around one day and go, "Am I or am I not your tactical officer?"
I recommend we raise shields. No, we can't do that. It's going to be provocative. We should fire phasers. No, can't do that either. It's like, damn. Wolf must be like, Jesus Christ, what do I got to do?
Like, Tuvok was allowed to do a lot more shooting.
No, that was Janeway. She was more of a Kirk.
Well, what
Shoot first, ask questions later. Let's go ahead and drive our starship between two binary suns just because I don't like you.
Well, what does she say in the Killing Game to Soldier Chakotay? Well, I guess when it comes to my people, this gal tends to get a little gung ho. Death Wish is a good. I like Death Wish a lot.
They should have Q on Enterprise. One episode.
I'm kind of glad they didn't.
Really? Why?
Because I think that Enterprise, I'm not, like, it's still not my favorite series, but I definitely like it better than I did. And I like it because it establishes the things that we all know and love, right? You can watch Enterprise and go, okay, that makes sense as to why the Prime Directive is now in place. Okay, that makes sense as to why there are now first contact protocols.
Yeah, establishing the.
If Q was put in there, it would make it feel like they were trying to put it in the same place as regular as different. More like as different further on in the future track.
Wonder what would happen if they took somebody like Trelane and somebody like Q and made somebody that would fit the Enterprise universe by taking qualities from those two people. Because Trelane is definitely TOS and Q is definitely not. So what would be I wonder if they could fit a middle ground because that's where it fits, right? Isn't Enterprise just before TOS?
Yes.
Right.
So couldn't they figure out a Trelane-ish kind of person to put in Enterprise and have it work?
Had they not been canceled after season 4 when they got that new writer, I have a feeling that the new director, I have a feeling they might have tried something like that. Because they threw in a mirror episode.
Are me and Paul the only two people who really liked Enterprise?
Yeah, I think I'm starting to think so.
I liked Enterprise. I thought it was great.
Honestly,
I'm
I
really
like.
easy to please.
So that's the thing. I like Enterprise, but I don't love it, but I don't dislike it either, right?
Yeah.
Like I can watch Enterprise and be like, this is Trek, this is good, I like this, but I don't sit there and go, oh wow, that was awesome, the same way I do with.
I kind of watch it cautiously.
See, I'm more than a cautious watcher. Like there are times where I've been like, yes, go Trip, or just like I'll find myself cheering for the characters or whatever, but it still doesn't get me as emotionally involved as TNG, DS9, Voyager.
I can't give myself over to it, emotionally. Like I can with TNG or
like.
TOS.
There's not a single episode of Enterprise that has brought tears to my eyes. Not one.
Q is going to be in Picard, right?
Yes. Well, actually, if you've watched Doomcock at all, there may not be a Picard.
Yeah.
Well, it's the second season has been greenlit.
I know, but
It might not get made.
I watched a Doomcock video, but he did say that his source can't verify, but he did get some sources telling him that the set has been struck.
Damn.
It took 3 weeks to strike the set.
Well, that sucks.
Doomcock did preface that with saying, none of my sources can verify this. I cannot verify this, so please take this with a grain of salt. But from what I've been told, it looks like the set has been struck.
I hear you about episodes that, like, okay, will they bring like tears to your eyes? Like DS9 The Visitor is, you know, it's a little too deep. You know what I mean? Like that grabs you right in the heartstrings.
Or The Inner Light.
The Inner Light is another one. Yeah, there's just
Picard's son in Inner Light is his real son.
Yeah, that's cute.
That's Patrick Stewart's son,
and all just like him.
And also, his son directed a couple episodes of TNG.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But when it comes to Enterprise, has there been an episode like that? It's not really easy to do, but there's a lot of intense drama going on in the episode where Captain Archer slowly starts losing his memory, and he is trying to remain in command of the Enterprise, and he keeps suggesting things that he's already suggested. And it's a parody of like severe Alzheimer's. Oh, yeah, right?
The brain worms things that he has.
Yeah. And she T'Pol ends up like giving up her career just to take care of him out of a sense of duty, and it very much seems like it evolved into something beyond that. There's a hell of a lot of high drama in that episode. I'm not gonna say there isn't.
I think the closest I got to being as invested as I would be with the other series with Enterprise is that 3 episodes about the augments.
Oh man.
I was like, okay, I'm watching these back to back to back. This is awesome shit right here. Like, that was good.
It's when they got rid of Brandon Braga as the showrunner.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like they brought on a new showrunner.
Yeah.
We need to sew up the previous storylines where they've been going. So we need to sew up the temporal Cold War.
Yeah.
And where that's been
very well.
Yeah, it's like we just need to finish this off and get it done quick. And the first 2 episodes of season 4 do that. You've even got alien Nazis, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was Manny Cotto production on that.
Yeah,
it was
Manny Cotto just writing, and then Brandon Braga. If you look over his history, he wrote, like, he's a great writer, but not everyone who's a great writer is a great showrunner, because his idea of the endless story arc of going into the Expanse and stuff. And the Xindi and everything as a parallel storytelling for 9/11 and stuff. And it's like, you know what, as a short story arc, like even up to like a half season or something. But I was joking with Platy the other day, and she laughed her ass off. I said that plot moved so slow that a butterfly could have perched on it. Wow, was it? Season 3 is just the weakest one, and I hear some people compliment it, and so I hear what you're saying, Blind. It's a Star Trek Enterprise is a story of tragedy, because by the time the promise of Enterprise was fulfilled, and Hammer's heard me talk about this, season 4 fulfills the promise of Enterprise, what it's supposed to be. It's got, it's precursor Trek. It really, really feels like it's in the Trek universe. They're actively engaging with lore, but not fucking with it, just engaging with it and building it and doing stuff. You got the mirror universe, you got the augments, you have the Organians in an episode, observer perspective. Great episode. Outstanding episode. And everyone had gone away by that point. The viewership, everybody had left, and it didn't have the viewers, and so it becomes a tragic fucking story. I mean, and that's why you get the last episode that was such a letdown for so many people, because when they wrote it and then started the pre-production for it, film it, they didn't know if they were going to get renewed for a 5th. That's why it's left kind of open and largely told in the future through the temporal Cold War. Like, maybe this can all change.
Who's got music going?
Not me.
Probably my phone.
Oh, it's your phone. Okay. That's a cool tone, man. It sounds like you're listening to actual music.
It's so anyway. Sorry for turning a Q conversation into a conversation on Enterprise, but it's when I heard through Hammer, and I'm going to blame Hammer for this, that he said that Blind Press didn't hate but wasn't really a fan of Enterprise, and I was like, what? No. So I showed up in one of your streams like a few days ago.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
And said that, and you're like, no, it's not that I don't like it. The reason I felt that way is because I decided once again, Hammer, to start watching Enterprise chronologically, and I just finished season 1 last night. So it's
all I've done is sample it just a little bit. I haven't paid that much attention to it. So you're saying it's really worth going in and giving a true chance to?
Absolutely. I'll tell you this too. I didn't like it to begin with. I had to warm up to it. I had to sort of, make friends with the characters, where you actually give a damn about them and sort of warm up to them. And I liked it. And then, this is really Trek. And I just didn't give it a fair shake. Like back in the day when it was on, I was one of the bad Star Trek fans that didn't support the show that I said I supported, And then when I watched it chronologically for the first time, like when I had my own copy from episode 1 to the final episode, by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, this show rocks. What the hell was I talking about? I did not give it a fair shake. So it took a while, man, for me to warm up to it eventually.
I've got to do that then.
And I would just like to thank Netflix for that wonderful skip intro button. So I don't have to listen
you
to
really
that
hate that theme
horrible song. Oh my god. Well, my friends, I think we've reached a natural stopping point, which means Skep, it's your turn to pick a villain, my friend.
Pick a villain. Boy, so many villains, so little time. I will text. I will not take too much time. I will pick a villain and let you know in the next day or so.
Sounds good.
And it'll be a good one. It could be more than one, but if I do, they'll be related. There'll be.
Well, Irate did too. He did the Gulna Dread and Jellicoe, so they were related. But there you go.
So let me kick it around, and we will do this, and we'll do it next week. Thanks for having me on again. I'm sorry I was late. Like I said, I would have much rather spent my time here, although hanging with my young grandson was fine.
Hey,
but
real life is always important.
Real life is real life. Absolutely, it's a real thing.
Does anyone have anything to shill before we go?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say tomorrow, instead of ice cream interview number 100, who everybody I've asked to do it has refused. So I'm going to do an AMA.
You're asking the wrong people.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Well, he asked me, and I,
sucks, dude.
People fail to realize how dramatically uninteresting of a person I am. Like, I'm doing you a favor. Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody.
Okay.
It's more about the conversation than you know what I'm saying, than an interview. It's more of a.
You've interviewed Hammer, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I've interviewed everybody in this room.
I haven't listened to the Hammer one.
That was its most popular broadcast too.
Yeah.
Was it? No, I want to hear it. Hammer's got life stories and things and perspectives. And he's an asshole, but he's interesting.
An interesting.
He's an interesting asshole.
He's not wrong. Interesting about everybody. That's what I think.
Proctologists agree.
So tomorrow's the AMA so I'm going to be answering questions from anybody, and anybody wants to pop in and grill me.
You should have Lucy on the stream with you.
Well, I was waiting to get 1,000 subs to do that, but that's not going to happen. So that might be an idea there.
Who knows? Maybe I'll come and bug you and ask you weird questions.
That would be awesome. You're more than welcome. Ask me weird questions. I love it. I love weird
Led
questions.
the National League in triples in 1927. Hence, his nickname was Big Poison, I believe. You can look that up, by the way. That's true. His brother was Little Poison. That's all of that's true, by the way.
Yeah.
This is all true.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends, if you'd like to catch any of us on Twitter, our links are in the stream description. I can talk, I promise. And Minions of the Zoo will be on tonight at 11:30 Central, and I think it's Rejects Night.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's Harry. The Harry channel is going to be in charge.
All right then.
And I will be on, and Prospero will be on. Also, that I know so far.
Sounds
You guys are going
fun.
to be on together?
Pardon me.
I said you guys are going to be on together?
Yes.
I know, it's like that never happens.
Yeah. No. It's weird. It's
Just a little
weird.
joke. I'm just a little joke.
It's a
and
weird
Maybe I'll
thing.
stop by if you got room.
He would. Actually, it's funny. You're not going to believe this. We were
I
just
don't.
talking in chat, and Harry said, "I would love to." He just said this. I'm going to clip this out and send it to you. I would love to have Hammer on. He just did say that.
That's funny.
I'm going to send that to him, and if he'll text you, and I'm sure he'll ask you to be on.
GMTA.
All right.
Great minds think alike.
Tell you what.
And Pincalo and I will be doing a Blind in the Special tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern, as usual. So come check that out.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank everybody for watching and my panelists for joining me as always.
And all the people who are going to hate us in the comments.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Thanks for
Hey.
having us. Thanks
Look
for
forward
having
to
us on
that.
Blind.
Hey, that's a view and an interaction. So you know what?
Have you ever read
Yeah.
the comments?
Thumbs up,
underneath my
thumbs
videos?
down. Just love us.
For those about
Love us
to
or
hate,
hate us.
we salute you.
Exactly.
Thanks for having us on Blind.
No worries.
Uh-oh.
Did she just eat herself?